my name is Brenda Miller from Among Brenda's Quilts and Bags, and today I'm going to show you how to put snaps in your fabric projects. This project called the Ooh La La bag, which I created, uses 6 sets of snaps, and let me just show you how they are used. Here's the bag, and it is a jewelry carrier. This is a little protector to keep things from rubbing. But we have lots of snaps here. We've got 2 on this earring hub, which come off. And that makes putting the earrings on a whole lot easier when that is able to come off. And these are really, really nicely finished snaps, a nice brand. We've got, the ring finger here. I've got a great big ring on there, which comes off so that you can get your rings off and on again. And it's very secure, so you don't have to worry about them falling off. And then we've also got the necklace clasp snaps, and they of course hold necklaces in place, so they're not going to go anywhere either. And these are the snaps we're using on the Ooh La La bag. So let's get started, and I'll show you how easy it is to use these nice little snaps. There are a couple of different types of snaps, and I'm going to show you how to use both. Now, the difference is sort of subtle, but I'll show you what the difference is. Now, they both look the same on the outside. Oops, with a rounded head, okay? It's the innards of it that are a little different. So this first one I'm going to show you. In Canada, I'm buying this, it's a unique creative brand available at Fabricland, I guess. It's distributed by H.A. Kidd in Toronto, and they are called No Snap Fastener Kit. Here's the difference. So inside, I'm just going to hold this up to the camera. Inside each snap, you'll see the metal is bent back on itself. And so that's just, a little bit of a rough edge going on there. Not as professional as the next one I'm going to show you. Okay, now let me just take this off. Earring hub. So here's the inside of the Prim brand snap fastener, and as you can see, that's a nice finished edge there. Totally finished. You're not seeing any bent back metal on that edge or on this edge. So you can see it's just a little dimpled piece. Okay. Now Prim, I think it's coming out of Germany originally. It's called the Anorak Druckknöpfe, or a press fastener, and it's 15 millimeter, and the kit is also 15 millimeter. You might be able to find 12 millimeter, which are quite nice as well. The Prim brand, P-R-Y-M is how it's spelled, comes with an applicator, and it separates the top portion from the bottom portion in these little trays, as does the other brands. So you want to keep those little trays just as they are so you don't get your pieces mixed up. It just makes life a whole lot easier. So let's get started. When you put snap fasteners in place, it's important to note that you need to interface one side of your fabric in order to give it some more stability, because there's a bit of stress placed on that fabric when you snap and unsnap your snaps. So I've done that here, and I'm going to turn this out, and then we're going to put a hole where we need our snap placed. Alright, I've turned this right side out. I've got a little mark made where I need my snap placed, and now it's time to make that hole. So we have our little disc here that we can hammer against. There is a punch in your kit, and you have a couple of ways you can do this. Just put your punch on the dot and hammer, or if you've got a little cutting board, it gives you a little more room to wiggle. I'm just going to use it in its case, but the disc works just fine too. I've got a carpenter's hammer, I've got my punch over my hole, and it's just a matter of not hitting your fingers, of course, and punching that hole through. And there we go. There's our little hole. I'm just gonna poke it a bit with my scissors. There we go. Okay, set this aside. And now, back to our kit. We've got our application tool. And what we want to do with this particular tab is we're going to put a snap on the outside, like the head of the snap. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. And everything's nicely divided here in your kit. I'm going to take out a snap head and the back of the snap head. Alrighty, now you need to rig up your little application device with the two parts that hold these little bits. Okay, so we need this flat piece here where the back of the head fits in the slot, and it goes on one side of the application tool, and you just press that in. Put that head in a minute. And I also need, and you can just check your instructions, but this is the next piece I need. It's going to hold the other half of the snap. It's going to fit in there. So it goes in the application device as well and push it into place. Okay, now you can take your little back of the snap and just press it in place. So there it is, it's held in place. And we're going to take the head of the snap in a minute and we're going to put it on the other side. Hope you can see that. Okay. Alrighty, so we need to push the head of the snap through the fabric on the right side. So I'm just going to do that and then put it in our little device here. And then this back of the snap part folds over and snaps into the hole. And I'm going to get my little board here again. Now it's just a matter of hammering it all together, and again, don't hit your fingers. And then it will pop right out, and look at that. Isn't that great? All done, nice and neat. Okay, I've got my other little piece done, and I've sewn my little necklace clasps onto it, and now I've got to punch holes again for the markings I've made for the opposite half of the snap and its application. So here we go again. I've got my punch and my trusty hammer. All right, I've got my 3 holes for my 3 snaps all punched, and now I need to take my application device and switch out the bits because we're going to be using 2 different pieces for the opposite side of the snap, and they're on the other side of the package. So there they are. And that's what they look like. Alrighty, so these pieces have to come off because they were for the head application. Oops. And we'll take out the other 2 pieces and pop them in place. Alrighty, put these back. Okay, now this piece on this side comes with a little plastic sleeve on it, and I don't think we're going to need that on there, so I'm just going to take that off. I think it may be used if you use a smaller snap. Okay. Right, so the long, get a little closer camera, the long centerpiece goes on the dimpled part of the applicator, and I think I'm just going to push it through the back first. So this is the back of the fabric. I'm pushing it through, and you can see it sticks out there, and then it's going to go on that little dimpled area of the applicator, and it's got to staple in place. And then this other little piece, there we go, has to fit right side into the applicator, and then we're going to fold it over Maybe we'll just put it all together first and then we'll slip it together. There. And we want to have it all lined up so that it does not move. And then again, we need the hammer, and we're going to hammer that in place. All right, so there it is. There's the back, a nice clean finish, and that just snaps together like so. All right, now it's time to try this other kind of snap kit out, and I am just doing a little bit of strapping here. And once again, we have a punch that's used to put holes in our fabric, which comes in the kit, and you can see it right there. And make our holes. Now this is not hammering through as well as the other one, so I'm assuming it does look a little dull because I have used it before. So let me open up the new package and get another one out. I have also used these punches just on concrete floor rather than on this sort of cutting mat, and it works quite well. So here's a new punch. Let's give it a try. Oops. That's good. Yeah, that's cutting through nicely. If you do use this on a concrete floor though, know that your concrete will end up with a dimple in it. So, you know, don't do it on a piece of concrete that needs to stay nice. Okay, so we've got our two holes, and now it is time to put in our head of our snap. And the head of the snap is pretty easy to identify. It's the other half that, you know, often gives people trouble. So it looks like this. That's the one side. That's the other side. And what you're going to do is use this little tool that comes with the kit. Find the right side that the head fits into. There's two sides. One is too small. Excuse me. And you're going to put the shaft of the head of the snap through the fabric and put it in the tray. And then take your opposite piece, and you want the big opening to the top, not the small one. The small one fits the shaft, and the shaft is actually going to bend over and fit into that other portion. And then in your kit you've got, I guess it's referred to as a spreader. It has a bit of a wider piece on the one side, and the spreader fits into the shaft. I'm hoping you can see that. Oops. And then it's time to take your trusty hammer again and give it a few good taps. And what that does is it spreads out that metal in the middle, okay? So that is now attached. All right, time for the opposite side. Alrighty, so we now again have a shaft, and we've got to turn over our little metal thing here because, oops, we're find the right side. That's too big. That's pretty floppy too, but I guess that's the side we're going to use. The shaft of the metal piece goes through the fabric. And then we've got this portion. Oops. Yes, we've got it. Here it is. There we are. This portion of the snap, and it goes like that onto our little tray. Here you are. And once again, we take the spreader and give it a few taps. And that spreads the metal out again in the center of that piece, and then it snaps together. There we go. but there is a different finish. It's not as professional looking with that metal bent over in the center, and that might catch in something in future. So these are a couple of things to think about when you pick out what kind of snap you want to apply. So I hope that has been helpful. The one thing I want to stress is be careful of your surfaces when you're hammering. Even with hammering on the little cutting board here, you could get some indentations in your wood underneath, so just be extra careful. You might want to do this on a floor in your basement. It's a little awkward, but it is doable. So good luck, and I hope this has been a good help to you. Thanks again. Bye.